And then we watch the news or talk to my friends. They all have these concerns. What started these fires? Now, they say it's arsonists. I've heard this theory, and I'm sure there were some arsonists, but there were a lot of elements that came together to make this fire the catastrophe that it was. The winds were 100 miles an hour. L.A. was dry as a bone, and the levees, and there was just too many factors. If you were a rational thinking person, you have to at least consider the possibility that God hates these people. Sodomites. That's not true because West Hollywood was unscathed. Because how can you burn what is already flaming?
And she says it's really just devastating to see. This is the first time many people are actually getting a chance to see their homes and their businesses because they haven't been allowed to get in. It's very strict.
Yes, that Chappelle drops a hilarious theory about what started the LA fire. I believe you've seen that. Now going into this second clip, there is something I realized after watching this video. People have to even fake, a lot of things to get into their lands. That is to tell you, giving me the vibes I saw in my way. When I look at the whole situation, what is currently happening, it is important. I show you some videos.
And she says it's really just devastating to see. This is the first time many people are actually getting a chance to see their homes and their businesses because they haven't been allowed to get in. It's very strict. The National Guard is making sure that you have your ID that has your address. And for us as well, we've had to show our press pass to be able to get in. And in fact, just yesterday, we had a National Guards member tell us that they've even seen fake press passes because so many homeowners were just trying to get in. And I spoke with a homeowner in the Pacific Palisades last night who told me he knew one of his neighbors had made a fake news pass just to be able to go in there and take pictures of his home so that he could give to his insurance company to be able to get some kind of relief right now, Adrian.
And every time I've heard about this story, it's so sad that they can't go back. But there are too many looters who are pretending that they belong in those neighborhoods, and that's been the primary concern.
Maher seems to be changing his tone. He went off on Karimbas. In fact, every person in New York, now look at this. At a certain point, when I look at this video, Maher was damn serious. He never wanted Biden or Kamala Harris to run. He wanted Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is a chronic liar. Everybody knows that. So Maher seems to be changing his mind about everything. It is important. I show you this video.
So is Gavin Newsom, but there is going to be a recall on Karen Bass. We will see what happens. But a lot of people think she failed in terms of leadership and, where budget cuts may have affected the fire department. And there are other people who are saying, how dare you even talk about that in the middle of the fire? So where do you stand?
Well, we all took a lot of heat. I'm with the people who want to hold politicians accountable. We shouldn't talk about it now. It's so funny to hear that coming out of the mouths of liberals because they hate it when conservatives say that after a gun tragedy, which is what conservatives always say after a mass shooting. This is not the time to politicize it, and then it never is. It is absolutely the time to talk about it. This is what my editorial is about Friday night on the show. Was it always going to be bad? Of course. Their arguments are not wrong. We built the city in a terrible place to build a city. Global warming absolutely does make hot stuff and weather worse. The winds were ridiculous. Yeah, I get all that. And they also made a lot of errors. And if you held Bush accountable for Katrina and thought Rudy Giuliani was an idiot for putting the command center in the World Trade Center, which is the place they attacked for and were most likely to attack again, which he was, well, then you have to have some intellectual honesty and criticize your team when they don't do it right. And they've had a long time to get this righter. It was always going to be bad. all of these were always going to be bad, and they always seem to be the worst they ever possibly could be. So, no, I think we should demand better.
That is it. Accountability. B. Maher is actually saying the truth, which Democrats don't believe in that, especially criticizing her. Karim Bass did a lot, and if care is not taken, she's gone. But I know they will still protect her. When I look at what B. Maher said on this video, he actually opened up the minds of people. They had this to say, but they are scared to do that. Watching this interview he had with TMZ actually brought in the gas.
I've been trying to get Gavin to run for president for a very long time. And
Are you serious? Are we living in Gavin Newsom's California? Why?
yeah, and I'm sure your life is just a
I
nightmare.
left because of him.
Oh, right, you're in
Moved to
Florida?
Miami.
It's so, you know what? I'll tell you something.
Lived here my
In
whole life.
2020, I've lived here since '83,
Okay.
and I love where I live. I love California.
I lived in Malibu.
I'm dug in here. I did in 2020 when there was a week when the sun was blotted out from the sky because of fires. I did look at moving to Florida. Now, I think it was a little like when I was contemplating suicide when I was in high school and college. If I got laid once, I would stop to kind of, and I don't think I was ever really going to do it. But I did actually, or get married. You know, I was engaged once, but you know, there are things you in your life you're like, you know what, I might do that. And part of you is like, yeah, never going to do that. Okay. So, I mean, and I think moving to Florida is in that category, but I did look at it because I share your frustrations with California. I do. And those are the things I was saying to him.
I mean, this is one I think I could speak
But
to
again,
pretty eloquently.
Are you happier in Florida?
Yeah.
What is it in Florida that compensated more than what you had here?
It feels less crazy than it does here. Here, you just
Florida's less crazy.
Yeah. Hear me out. Hear me out on this.
Really?
Here's
the
what I
place where
mean.
the people are on bath salts, like
Your
fucking
girl,
an alligator?
Sage Steele asked me, she's like, what was the moment when you felt like California had lost its mind? And it was a piece of legislation that I can't recall.
Now, in 2025, we are talking about the same thing. She should be really sitting somewhere and drinking. Yeah, because she left, like, look at what has just happened. Imagine if she was still there, maybe the house would not be there because of bad policies. This was preventable, like everyone is saying. Bima, at that time, was advocating for Gavin Newsom to be president. Now I really want to see his tone. The whole clip he did here was just calling out Karim Bass, woke, DEI, things like that.
He's been worried that he won't do anything to help us. Turns out we're wrong. This morning he wrote, "It is my honor to announce John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be special ambassadors to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California."
I think also in this environment right now where immediately there's discussion flowing through social media networks that cleaves down partisan lines, that is stopping our ability to be united. And we should not just accept that as inevitable. That is weakening our ability to unite as a nation and as cities.
Let me answer your criticism by asking you a question.
Sure.
Do you think it was uniting or dividing while in the midst of these fires for the Democrats to go to Sacramento and in an emergency session vote to appropriate $50 million to Trump-proof California, to sue the Trump administration, which hasn't even taken office yet? Do you think that was a good priority and a good time to do that or no? Was that dividing? Was that divisive or was that uniting?
Scott, I think what Sacramento does, and by the way, I think the focus should be entirely on the firefighting. And I'm not going to go take that, bait because I don't know the details of that particular bill.
They voted to appropriate $50 million to sue Trump.
You see the madness here? They were focused to Trump-proof California while places are burning. That was not a good move. Look at the time. They are the first to criticize, Trump said this, this one is going on. Looking at Jimmy, I don't want to play all that video because of these copyright issues. He was there melting down because Trump appointed Mel Gibson and others to oversee or make Hollywood great again.
Yeah, we were just talking about the wildfire situation.
You know, I'm going to take care of the forests and maintain the forests and do all that kind of stuff. He didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything. And then on top of that, they cut the water off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Until Elon Musk confirmed that what this lady is saying is the truth.
Palisades looks like, you know, unfortunately Gaza or one of these war-torn countries where awful things have happened. So, and there are fires now breaking out everywhere. So it feels totally bizarre to be talking about a movie.
I'll be laying out a plan for how we recover.
And sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Thank you guys for always been there sharing on my videos. I don't like to make the videos long. Reason I always cut it at this point for
Future president and his gag
are a function of their flawed morality and policy.
The problem with California is forestry management.
We're triggering total collapse.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning, and you know, I flew here last night. I was on a plane, started getting texts.
So I am evacuating my home.
What we need to do against what we know is right, and these are the results.
Trump is now calling that Gavin Newsom should step down.
This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds.
The situation is beyond control. I'll be updating you, giving you more information to what I'm observing on social media. I didn't want to report this, but people keep sending this to me. God bless you.
Health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
All right, right now you're looking.
History, remember it.
As a country about yeah, we were.
And then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know, but it's like, you know, it's sad.
I want to be,
Jim Jordan.
In the 5 tenants of
Palisades Village right here. This is the town center of sorts.
And he did this little dance like
Our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those.
If you don't know, Karen Bass